Hello everybody. So this here is what they call a purge valve. Its job is to purge the fuel out of the canister, the evaporation canister connected to your fuel tank. And this sits in the engine area, in the engine bay area. And actually it goes like this. This one here, this black one, it goes all the way underneath the car and it connects to the purge canister, which is, or evaporator canister, and the evaporator canister is connected to the fuel tank. And this white one here is connected to the intake, and it's basically subject to vacuum. And this is electronic connection. All it is a simple on and off, and it runs a little solenoid in there, and it turns it on and turns it off. It closes it and opens it. That's all it does. It's a simple little solenoid and it's completely sealed. So why did this thing fail? That's what we're going to try to figure out. What happens is it creates emission failure codes, like it thinks there's a leak, which means that it thinks it's drawn vacuum here, and it doesn't. The vacuum in the gas tank does not drop. The sensor says, oh, nothing's dropping. So it says, oh, big bad leak. Or it thinks there's high pressure, meaning this thing is on all the time, and basically if it's stuck on all the time, there's vacuum going through this all the time, and it's always sucking out of the canister, therefore sucking out of the tank. So the sensor on the tank is always going into the negatives. So it's saying too much vacuum. So this little needle valve in here fails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this little sucker apart, and I want to see why does it fail. There's no way it should have failed. It's just a little solenoid. Solenoids can run forever and ever. What the heck's going on? So I want to cut it open. I want to see. So stay tuned. Once I get it cut open, I'll show everybody. Okay, so I'm back. I have the unit tore apart. So this is the magnet part. I had to run a cut along here. So that's the vacuum going to the gas tank. And there's nothing in this channel. It's just a solid channel. Everything's done at the very end. So this is the magnet piece. And what happens is this little guy goes in the magnet. So that's the actual piece that goes back and forth. It actually rides back and forth inside this little guide here, spring guide. Okay. And that spring guide sits inside this little screen. Okay. And that screen is basically, let me show you how that was connected. It was basically glued up along here. Okay, so the air travels along and comes inside these two little notches right here. There's one notch. I took the top off. There's another one here. If I turn it just so that you can see how the air gets in. So it comes along the top of the unit, goes down, goes through the screen, and then out the hole. Okay, that's how the vacuum goes. What I found was this unit here, it was plugged up with crap. So rust and crap was in here. The pieces of rust and that. So that was the first thing. And the magnet actually worked till I because I misconnected it, but it was going in and out pretty quick there for when I touched it. So it basically, what I'll do, so I'll put it in the vise, because I'm only one-handed. And yeah, so this drops in here like so, and then this goes in like that. Okay, so it actually drops all the way in. I should have put it in first. This drops in all the way in like so, and then this spring thing is what keeps it moving back and forth when it goes in and out. And then this spring sits on top like so. So all the work really is done at the very end of this unit. At that very end. And the rest of it is just magnets, or should I say electromagnet windings. It's not a very complicated machine, but that's kind of what it does. So there's two things I can see here how it fails. One is it gets plugged up in these little holes with junk. So if you have a rusty line and that line gets really corroded and maybe even breaks, and then you fix that line, which I did, and put a rubber line on it. But regardless, what happened was some junk got in here. So that was interesting. Somehow it still kept the vacuum going, but I think what happened also is we get corrosion going on in the inside of this thing. And it, even though it's lubricated in there, it can still stick. And when it sticks even a little bit at a time, it's enough to throw code, because it's only supposed to stay open for a very small amount of time anyway. So you can tell that that piece there, that gets corroded over time. It rides back and forth inside the hole, and yeah, so I think it just kind of rust and corrosion on this piece, and or this here, these little tiny little airways in here get plugged up where they come out to the screen, and that's why it failed. So that's kind of a little breakdown of what can happen to a purge valve, and why you end up having to replace them.